Mark has been reading through the book, The Kingdom of God. He's ready for the bottom of page 7 to the top of page 10 today. She got down to get a drink.
Here we come upon a truth which men will know, choose to ignore. When men put down corruption in governments, they invariably inaugurate a worse corruption. When men dethrone one evil, they do so only that they may enthrone a greater one. In his entire history, man has never gone from evil to good, but always from evil to evil and still worse evil. For evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. 2 Timothy 3:13. Make us a king to judge us like all the nations. Here Israel became political instead of religious, or if you will, they made politics their religion. They did not cast off religion entirely, but see how the case now stands. Their religion is no longer divine. It is now a strictly human and comparative religion based not on their own morality, but on the morality of the other nations, which is the only nation and political people can have. Their appeal will no longer be thus saith the Lord, but thus saith the nations. Having chosen a king and a human government, it is no longer possible to be governed by God's law. They must now be governed by the laws of man, and henceforth they will have the form of godliness, but will deny the power thereof. Henceforth they will be ignorant of God's righteousness and will go about to establish their own. 2 Timothy 3:5, Romans 10:2 and 3. Always and always this is the case. Here on the pages of what we are pleased to call ancient history, it's a record of today. Here is the record of our own nation. We are not a Christian nation. No greater blasphemy could be uttered than to say we are, nor could we believe a greater lie. We are religious, but we are not Christian. We are political people. Our religion is political, not Christian, human, not divine. Like Israel, we are ignorant of God's righteousness. Like Israel, we are ignorant of God's righteousness and go about to establish our own. Our morality as a nation is based on that of other nations. Our morality as individuals is based on that of other individuals. For we dare not make ourselves of the number or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but they measure between themselves by themselves, and comparing themselves among themselves are not wise. 2 Corinthians 10:12. Comparative religion is irreligious. Comparative morality is immorality. To say that this nation is the most immoral in the entire history of nations is hardly to overstate the case, but to utter words of truth and soberness. Our immorality sees that of any nation in history. The corruption in our government is beyond the power of words to tell. The immorality in our society, even in the churches, cannot be measured. The number of Christians in this nation, yes, is infinitesimal. There are not as many righteous people in most churches as there was in Sodom. Dishonesty in business and everywhere in the order of the day, bribery, conspiracy, and collusion are accepted practice. We put a premium on dishonesty. All our dealings are based on the big lie. We are scoffers, mockers of all things holy. We are dissolute. Our profession of Christianity is a hollow mockery of make-believe. We scorn the good and praise the evil. We are the most hypocritical people that ever trod upon God's earth. We have officials elected by ourselves now serving in public office who should be behind bars, so we all know it. Yet we pretend nothing is wrong. The bitter truth is that we admire criminality as long as it is affluent and clever enough to avoid being caught. It is apparent to all who have eyes to see that we are in the final stages of moral decadence and spiritual decay, that we also may be like all the nations on the surface. This appears innocuous, but it covers the whole multitude of evil. Samuel thought Israel's choice of a king meant only that they were rejecting him. Israel thought their choice meant only that they were rejecting Samuel's sons, and that for sufficient cause and good reason. Men are still rationalizing and deluding themselves in the same manner, for they see only the outside and never the true meaning. Only God knows the truth of things. Men know nothing but what God is pleased to reveal. God said to Samuel, "They have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them." So there are two judgments in the world. Man makes out his own case in his own eyes, and he does so by putting a false face on everything. Man sets disguise upon life to conceal and cover its corruption, leprosy, and death. He then judges according to the outside appearance, one which he has himself created and so knows to be a lie. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Jeremiah 17:9. But man is not allowed to state his case and go away as though he had told the whole story. God rips off the mask. All our excuses and explanations are lies, and God will not have them. Our thoughts and ways are not God's. God's thoughts and ways are right. Once this is acknowledged, it must also be acknowledged that every thought and every way of man is wrong. Since they are not God's, let it be understood once and for all that man is a rebel from the throne of God. Man's judgment is therefore completely false. Isaiah 55:8. God's judgment is true, and his judgment alone will stand. Though we may delude ourselves, our lives, God's judgment is inevitable, and eventually we must face it. All things are naked and open unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do. Hebrews 4:13.
Okay, thank you, Mark. I'll continue this tomorrow. Hope you all have a good day.